Hi class. Hopefully you are enjoying the time at home. I know it's a little weird, and I'm sorry we haven't been able to meet. I miss you guys. Hopefully you're all healthy and safe, but here I am on my porch, socially isolating. So I think there's a lot of confusion on our assignment to research the stock market, and unfortunately we didn't get a chance to talk about it before the quarantine happened. So hopefully this will make a little more sense. First of all, though, I want you to go and watch the video that I posted, the YouTube video, the little cartoon, because it explains how an individual company selling stock works. But if you have watched it and you're still confused, hopefully this is another kind of visual representation that'll make a little bit more sense. So say I have a company, and here it is, Mannion Incorporated. Now, when you start a company, you don't really get a little cute little certificate like this. It's a little bit abstract. It just kind of exists. There's not really like a brick and mortar. There's not necessarily like a concrete object to show that, but it exists. So this is representing my company, Mannion Incorporated. Yeah. So if I do well in my company, now say my company is selling, it could be selling anything. It could be selling a food item. It could be selling like wheat or corn. That's called a commodity. It could be selling it could be selling food like McDonald's or Wendy's or something like that. It could be selling, it doesn't really matter what it's selling, but whatever it's doing, the company is doing its thing. And say I need to grow and I need some money. Well, that's kind of hard to come up with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell a little piece of my company to other people. And if my piece of paper grows, if my company grows, say this piece of paper gets bigger, each little part of it also gets bigger. So if I'm selling stock, I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to cut off this part of my company, and the company still exists as a whole, but now I own this part and someone else, the investors, own this part. Okay? So pretend like this is maybe like 100 shares. So a share is one tiny little piece of the company. Okay? You typically don't buy one share at a time. You typically buy a lot of 100 or 50, a different amount if you're investing in a single company. So your investor, let's see if I can get it so you can see it, owns this, the share of the company. Probably they own a lot of shares of the company. And this could be sold to several investors. It could be sold to one investor. You can kind of do it how you want. But if you start selling it on a stock exchange, it's basically like taking, kind of like selling your bits of your company at a store. Okay? So the stock exchange is like the store where you buy stock. It doesn't really, you don't, to buy stock, you don't walk into the stock exchange and say oh, I'd like some stock, please. But you do it online, but or with a brokerage. We'll get to that later. But anyway, is this making sense so far? So we've got the company as a whole, and the different parts of the company are what I sell, and those are my shares of stock. So as a company owner, you want to have the majority of the company. You still want to own the majority of the company, and little bits can go to other people to help. So like I was saying, so if I am successful in doing my business and this paper starts to grow, each share will grow with it. Okay, so this share, if my company does well, will get bigger and bigger, and it will be worth more. So the idea is to buy shares of companies when it's cheap, and then when the company grows and gets big and gets successful and is worth more, you sell them off, and then you've made a profit. Okay? So that's how a company and stock works. Now let's talk about the stock market. So like I said, the stock market is basically the store where the stock is sold. So I asked you to go and look at some of these markets. So the New York Stock Exchange is kind of the big one in the US. The NASDAQ is the other one. And it's hard to kind of get a read on what the market is doing. If the market's doing well, it means companies are basically becoming more valuable. If the stock market's not doing well, it means companies are getting less valuable. So right now, what are companies doing? Are they getting more valuable or less valuable? that's part of your research, so I'm not going to tell you what they're doing, but it's easy to find out there. There's lots of news stories about it, because it's this coronavirus thing has had a big impact on the stock market, so it shouldn't be too hard to find some articles. Try to find reliable sources. Try not to get things that are biased, you know, conservative versus liberal, which is a little hard, but try to find kind of middle of the road. Investopedia is a really great website. Maybe I'll link that. Anywho, so what I asked you to do is go find the S&P 500. So what that is it's called an index. It means that people who analyze the stock market for a living have put together the top 500 companies, and they're watching to see how those companies do, and by watching those companies they can get an idea of how all of the companies are doing. Okay, the Dow Jones is similar. The NASDAQ is a separate exchange. So think of the NASDAQ like, instead of going to buy your stock at Walmart that kind of sells everything, you're going to Best Buy, and it pretty much sells like technology. Okay, so the NASDAQ is like a lot of the technology stocks. So hopefully that kind of clears things up a little bit. If you have questions, please email me, you know, message me on Canvas. I'm trying to kind of get on every day, even to just say hi. I really do miss you guys, and like I said, I hope you're safe, I hope you're happy, kind of chilling at home and getting some homework done. If you need resources, Investopedia is a good one. The NerdWallet is good. And I mean, of course, news outlets are a good place to look too, because there's been stories. Google Finance always has news. Yahoo Finance always has news about what's going on with the markets. So hopefully that clears things up. Like I said, if you have any other questions, please feel free to email me, and I'll do the best I can to explain it over email or whatever platform we have. We may be meeting in the future over like Zoom or something like that, or I'll have some like virtual office hours, but I have yet to set that up for like a definite time. So right now, email's your best bet, or message me over Canvas, because I'm on there pretty frequently. So anywho, get your assignments done. Don't forget the consumer fraud one. A couple of you only gave me 3 examples. You were supposed to give me 3 examples of 3 different types of frauds, so you got marked down a little. So if you need to redo it, go redo it. We'll keep our deadlines kind of loose until we get back to school. So yeah, stay happy, stay safe, wash your hands, and hopefully I will see you soon. We'll see. Okay, bye guys.